When it comes to making accurate dowel joints, you just can't beat this tried and true jig. We spend a lot of time talking about the latest, greatest tools here at the Woodsmith store, but today I thought we'd take a look at an old standby. And this is one of my favorites. It's this doweling jig from Task Tools. Now, if you're not familiar with dowel joinery, essentially it's just using small wood dowels like this to reinforce butt joints or edge joints. It gives you a little more gluing surface and it adds some strength to the joint. But the key to making a successful dowel joint is drilling two perfectly aligned holes. And that's where this jig comes into play. Let's take a closer look and see how it works. This is a fairly simple design. What we've got in the center here, the main body of the jig, is a steel block that has 4 tapped holes. And these holes accept guide bushings. The jig comes with 3 sizes, 1/4 inch, 5/16 and 3/8 inch to handle most standard size dowels. And those guide bushings simply drop into the hole and thread in place. And what those do are keep your drill bit drilling straight and perpendicular to the workpiece. These guide bushings are hardened steel, so they won't wear out very quickly. And they're also replaceable. So if they do wear out or get damaged, you can buy a new set and you're good to go. Now this center portion of the jig is flanked on either side by a pair of aluminum fences, and those move back and forth by means of a clamp. And as you turn the clamp, the fences move together so that this center block remains centered all the time. It's a self-centering jig, in other words. On the front are a couple of little cutouts, view windows, so that you can align the jig to registration marks you draw on your workpiece, and that helps you to position the jig to where you want to drill the holes. Now it's a little confusing with me just talking through it here, so the best thing to do is to show you how to use this to actually make a dowel joint. Got a couple of test pieces here that I'm going to use just as a sample, say if you were making a frame or a door. So this kind of a butt joint is not very strong at all. It's going to fail. But the idea is to use dowels to reinforce that. So we'll go ahead and lay out for 2 5/16 inch diameter dowels, and that will strengthen the joint and make it last a lot longer. So I've got the 5/16 inch bushings already installed in the jig. And I like to center the holes on the end of one of the workpieces. So to do that, I sort of just lay it up on the jig and eyeball it. And then I'll make a little tick mark centered on one of the holes. You only need to do one because the jig will position the second hole automatically. Then you want to place the 2 workpieces together the way they'll be in your final project. And I'm going to use a square to transfer that little tick mark to the other workpiece. And make sure you draw a nice long line, as you're going to need to be able to see through that little window on the jig as you're positioning the jig. Now, in order to drill the holes, it's really good to have these workpieces clamped in a vise. In my case, I don't have a vise on my bench, so I'm going to clamp them to the front of my bench. I have a 5/16 inch drill bit chucked up in my drill, and I'm going to control the depth of the hole using a stop collar. I'm using 2-inch long dowels, so I need to drill a 1-inch deep hole in each workpiece. And actually, I'm going to go a little bit deeper than 1 inch so that I don't have to worry about the dowels bottoming out in the holes. The distance from the end of the workpiece to the bottom of this fence is exactly 1 inch. So what I've done is position my stop collar so that when I drop that drill bit down through the bushing and the stop collar contacts the bushing, the end of the drill bit extends just past the bottom lip of this fence. To position the jig on the workpiece, just line up this witness mark on the jig with the layout line that you drew on your workpiece. Once you've got everything aligned, just tighten the fences by turning the clamp. Now we're ready to drill some holes. There we go. Now all I have to do is drill a matching set of holes on the other workpiece. I've got the jig set up on the mating workpiece. Everything's pretty much the same, only a couple of differences. This time I'm using the index mark on the other side of the jig. And since I'm drilling into edge grain instead of end grain, hopefully the drilling will go a little bit easier. All right, let's try some dry assembly and see how everything fits. I'll go ahead and knock these dowels into the hole here. And I'll put a clamp on this to pull it all together. Put some glue on there and you'll have a nice strong joint and just a little finish sanding, and it'll be perfect. So that's the Task Doweling Jig. It's a great product to have if you want to do any kind of dowel joinery. It works on butt joints like this, miter joints, and even edge-to-edge joints if you're gluing up panels. Highly recommend it. So if you'd like to order your own Task Doweling Jig, just click on the link in the description below. And to receive more information on new tools, tips, and techniques, be sure to sign up for our e-notes by going to thewoodsmithstore.com. And just so you don't miss anything, be sure to click on the button below to subscribe to our Woodsmith Store YouTube channel.